How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneticshark here with another new movie review for you. So let's go right into the review and see what I saw. So a couple weeks ago, I got the chance of checking out an awesome new CGI computer animated film from the awesome Disney company, and also one of the best filmmakers and CGI cartoon makers around. Now, this film happens to be an awesome film that is the sequel to an awesome 2012 film. Now, the movie that I'm talking about is the awesome film Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2. Oh yeah! So we had to wait 6 years to get a sequel, which is pretty short for some sequels that we've seen. I mean, we look at Toy Story 2 to 3 took, how many years it took? Almost, 11 years? And then it took, 14 years for Incredibles 2. Toy Story 4, that's coming out next year, is another 9 years. So, I mean, this is pretty decent. It's not that long of a wait for a sequel. So that was really awesome they decided to make a sequel to this awesome film already. Now, this awesome film happens to be directed by an awesome individual named Mr. Rich Moore. Now, Rich Moore has also directed a couple other films. One he was actually a co-director on, and once again, he was actually nominated for an Oscar and won an Oscar the year for this CGI film. That happens to be the awesome Disney film and CGI film, Zootopia. Oh yeah! Zootopia is such an amazing film. I absolutely loved it. That was such a fantastic film. So fun, so entertaining, so hilarious, and just awesome. Had Jason Bateman doing a voice in it. They had a huge cast, and they were just all so stinking funny in it. And it just was a really fun film. And Rich Moore totally deserved the Oscar for Best, Animated Feature that year, because he just made and co-directed such a great film. And he just has a great eye, I feel, for some really great talent. And also, one thing I found out is that he was co-writer on the production too as well. So you can see that he put a lot of input into that film, and I can see why it was so good, just like, Wreck-It Ralph 2 was. Now, the other film that he directed is the original film that started this awesome franchise, and that, of course, is Mr. Wreck-It Ralph 1. Oh, yeah! So back in 2012, we got the awesome Wreck-It Ralph film where we got introduced to Wreck-It Ralph, aka the bad guy from a video game called Fix-It Felix Jr. And we were introduced to such an awesome character. It was just such a really well-rounded film. I loved the whole tone of the film. All the characters in it were really awesome. It was great to see all these awesome old video games brought back to life and given kind of a new appreciation for and stuff, and I thought that's what was great about this film series, and that they do a lot of that and give us a lot of great insight into those awesome old, arcade games and stuff like that. And it's just a really fun film, and I thought Rich did a really great job directing it. He gave us great inspiration, gave us a great look at it, and just made a really fun and entertaining and really thoughtful movie. And I just thought that he directed it so beautifully and gave us such a beautiful film. Kind of along the lines of like how Inside Out was, and how Tangled is, and Brave. All those films just have such great meaning and lots of great storytelling to them, and Rich Moore did a great job of bringing that to the Wreck-It Ralph series as well. Now, when it comes to Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, once again he brought another great story, another great directing, and just made a really fun film. This one I feel is just as good as the first one, but even a little better. I really liked the avenue they took it in, where, basically they got into, the internet, and where they took it, and how, like, spam pops up, and all kinds of stuff like that. I really liked that. I thought it was really funny, and very true to how the internet is. And I loved how they were able to use eBay, and they were able to use Amazon, and all that stuff, which I think was really hilarious. And just a really awesome and cool thing. So, this movie is just fantastic, and Rich did a great job of directing it. Gave us another great film, another great, animated CGI film to the awesome Disney collection. And very looking forward to another one if they end up getting to do it, because this one was just so much fun, and I love where they took it. And I thought Rich just took it in a great direction. Now, this awesome film brings back a lot of the same talent that was on the first film. Now, to start off that awesome talent, we have none other than an awesome comedian actor himself that absolutely is just hilarious, so funny. Everything he does is hilarious. I absolutely love this guy, Mr. John C. Reilly. Now, John C. Reilly, you might recognize from such movies like Talladega Nights. You might recognize him from the upcoming Holmes and Watson film that's going to be come out. You might also recognize him from the new Laurel and Hardy film that's going to be coming out at the beginning of next year. And you might recognize him from a slew of other characters to play. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. I mean, he's been in a slew of films over the years and just a great comedian and just a great actor. Now, a couple films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in were none other than the awesome 2008 film where he stars along Will Ferrell again. And that, of course, is the film Step Brothers. Oh, yeah. Do we just become best friends? Yep. Movie is absolutely freaking dynamite. Adam McKay brought together such a great film. So stinking funny, and John is just so hilarious, and I love his character. I love how he acts. I love all his lines in the film. Oh my god, it's so freaking funny. And he was such a true comedian in the film, and he worked so well with Will Ferrell, and they really bumped each other off. And just some of the lines he comes up in the film, as he's talking to, different characters in the film and stuff like that, it's just absolutely hilarious. And just some of the things he says to Will Ferrell, too. They just worked so well together in that movie, and he just made such a great film. And was so stinking hilarious. One of my favorite roles of his of all time. He was so freaking funny in that film. Another great film that he was in, and one I don't think a lot of people realize he was in, and probably don't really remember this film. But this is an awesome movie that came out in 1999, and I think it was a fantastic film. Great, comedy, rom-com, teen movie that just had a great cast. I mean, you had David Arquette in it, Drew Barrymore, Molly Shannon. You had... just a huge class of great actors and actresses. And that, of course, is the awesome film called Never Been Kissed. I absolutely loved his character in the film, playing the boss of Drew Barrymore's character. And he's so freaking fun. He's like, get to know them, get to understand them, get the story, our jobs depend on it. And he was just like so stinking funny in it. I loved his relationship with Molly Shannon in the film. I love his character, how he kind of evolves throughout the film. And he just was like so stinking funny. I loved him as that kind of boss character. And I thought it was something different that I had seen him in anything at the time. And I would just remember going, holy crap, I can't believe I didn't realize that was John C. Reilly when I saw it back in 1999. And I was just like cracking up because he was like so freaking funny in it and so good. And just, I think it's another one of his greatest performances. He was just really awesome in it, and he had a great cast to work with in that film, and everyone worked so well off of each other. It was just a really fun role, and I really enjoyed John in it. But when it comes to voicing Ralph again, he was pitch perfect again, playing Ralph. That voice of his is so perfect for Ralph's character and physique and look, and just was once again brought together a great performance, a great characterization, and just really made Ralph come to life again. And you get to see kind of Ralph evolve a little bit more in this one, so that was fun too, to see John, work with that and see what he could do to make that evolving of the Ralph character even better. And he, once again, I feel he succeeded even more than he did on the previous film and just made a really awesome film. Really enjoyed it and thought it was really, intense and fun, and just a really great performance by John C. Reilly. Another great actress that we have returning from the first film, doing a voiceover in this film, is none other than the awesome and beautiful and gorgeous Miss Sarah Silverman. Sarah Silverman is so freaking funny and hilarious. I absolutely adore her. I think she's so funny. There has only been one role that I really didn't care for her in, and that was in School of Rock. I hated her character in it. I thought she was so mean to Jack Black's character. I just didn't like her in that. But other than that, I think she's a great actress, and just everything else she's done, she's so freaking funny in. And I just really think she's great. She's just really funny just doing just normal comedy, too. And, doing, stand-up or whatever. And just sometimes seeing her in her interviews, she's absolutely wacky and hilarious, too, at the same time. Such a great, gifted actress, I feel. Now, when it comes to Sarah Silverman, a couple movies I really enjoyed her in were such films as the awesome film that came out in 2013 that Mr. Seth MacFarlane directed himself that had a huge cast. Liam Neeson was in it. You had Sarah Silverman. You had Patrick Neil Harris, Amanda Seyfried. I mean, you just had a really fun cast. And that film, of course, is A Million Ways to Die in the West. I absolutely loved Sarah Silverman's character in this film, being this, like, saloon whore that's in love with Giovanna Risby, and they're trying to have this relationship with her being, you know, this prostitute character, and it was just, like, so stinking funny and hilarious. And just the fact that in the movie itself, like, they refer to her as not just, they don't refer to her as a prostitute, they refer to her as a whore throughout the whole film, was absolutely hilarious. And she just, like, she wore it, like, with a badge of pride, and it was just, like, so freaking hilarious and funny. And I just cracked up so hard throughout the whole film. Every time she popped up and her, like, interaction with Giovanna Risby and stuff, it was just, like, so freaking hilarious. And then just, like, some of her lines in the film were super hilarious, too. And I just absolutely loved that character. It was like perfect Sarah Silverman character. What a great pleasure. And just a great role, and I really liked her in that film. Another great film that Mrs. Silverman did, and I feel is one of the other great films that I remember her doing something in, and I really enjoyed her in. And that, of course, is the very first Wreck-It Ralph film, Wreck-It Ralph. Now, I absolutely loved her bringing to life Vanellope and showing us this awesome, funny character that's a racer. And I thought she was just, like, so funny as this character. I love her voice in it. I love how she even takes it even further than how her voice already sounds. She makes it even a little bit more high-pitched. And she just was, like, so stinking hilarious and so funny, and just being, you know, how she just brought to life this character and gave us, you know, the first look at this character and kind of giving us, you know, a timeline of what this character is like, you know? And she just brought it to life and was so stinking funny in it, and I thought that her voiceover was so superb and funny, and just a really great characterization of this character, and just really fun and funny. I just really enjoyed it, and I felt that it was kind of like, it was Sarah Silverman, Vanellope was, but with a little bit of, like, fairy dust sprinkled on her. That's what the character makes me think of. And I think that's absolutely perfect for Sarah Silverman. And I think that's really what she was trying to go for Vanellope's character, which was just so stinking funny. But when it comes to her, you know, evolving characterization in the second Wreck-It Ralph, she brought it. And I love where they took her character. That was kind of interesting how they did it. And I love how they have her want to have more excitement and change her life and go play in another game because she's more interested in doing more car chases and not being at the same track all the time and all that kind of stuff. And I just feel that her characterization just got better and better, and her kind of coming to know that she's a part of the princesses. Because that's one thing that recently has popped up, is that Disney's considering Vanellope just like a princess series, just like all the other princesses, like Cinderella, Ariel, Jasmine, Snow White, Rapunzel, and stuff like that. She's actually a part of the princesses. And I think that's hilarious how they kind of bring that to life in the film and have her kind of coming to terms with that she has the same thing as them, where, like, she's looking at something and seeing what she really wants, and she just starts singing and busting out and stuff like that. Was absolutely hilarious, and I thought Sarah did a great job of bringing that out and just making it fun and hilarious, and just a really great interpretation and evolving character of Vanellope. I really enjoyed it, and I thought Sarah did a really good job and just brought to life Vanellope again. Also returning from the very first film, doing a voice. He didn't have a huge part, but when his parts were in the film, they were super funny and hilarious. And that, of course, is Mr. Fix-It-Feel-It Jr. himself, Jack McBrayer. Now, Jack McBrayer, you might recognize as Kenneth from the great 30 Rock show that was on NBC with Tina Fey. You might recognize him from a slew of other films. You might recognize him from Match Game, where he guest stars pretty much a lot on the new revised Match Game. He's been in a lot of great movies, Campaign and so forth, and I just feel he's a great comedian. He's so freaking funny. I love just where he takes himself and just like how he always plays like that sweet little southern boy, and it's just like so stinking funny. It's almost like Goofy a little bit, like Goofy the character from Disney, and he that's what he kind of makes me think of. It's like, Gorge. You know, it's just funny. And Kenneth, or I should say Jack, makes me think of that like all the time every time I see him act because he's kind of like that and it's just so stinking funny. Now, a couple movies I really liked Jack in, and I think he was fantastic in, were none other than an awesome film that came out a few years ago that was just a really fun film and just so stinking hilarious. And I thought it had a really great ensemble cast. You had Rainn Wilson and Elijah Wood. You had, just a really fun cast. And it was a great horror comedy slash zombie film. And that, of course, was a film called Cooties. Now, if you haven't seen Cooties, definitely check it out, people. It's such a great movie, so freaking awesome, hilarious. It was like kind of like along the lines of like Zombieland and Scout's Guide to a Zombie Apocalypse, Shaun of the Dead, stuff like that. This movie is really awesome and like that. Totally made me think of those films. And it's just a really fun film. And Jack McBrayer's character in the film is absolutely hilarious. He's pretty much the same as that character as he is in pretty much everything. But at the same time, he brought a great, one-liners to the film. Lots of great presentation, just how he acted. And he was super hilarious. Absolutely loved him in it. And he was so fun and just goddamn awesome. He's such a great character actor. And I absolutely loved him in that film. Now that brings me to the other film I really enjoyed him in, which is another great comedy rom-com film that was directed by Nicholas Stoller and stars, a great cast. Kristen Bell, you had in it. You had Jason Segel, Russell Brand. You have this huge, awesome cast in the film. Mila Kunis. And this movie is just a great film. Got me through a lot of great times and just a really fun film that came out in 2008. And that, of course, is the film Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Now, Jack McBrayer's character in this is absolutely hilarious. He's supposed to be a newlywed husband trying to have sex with his wife for the first time because they stayed abstinent till they got married. He is absolutely fantastic, and I love this character. I love it that they actually have him swear in the film. I think that was hilarious because you never really hear Jack McBrayer swear. So, like, when he swears, it was absolutely freaking hilarious. And it, he even said it kind of like it was his first time saying to swear, which I think is absolutely hilarious. But at the same time, it's just like him having to deal with him trying to have sex with his wife for the first time, and he's asking Russell Brand for, help and stuff, is absolutely hilarious. His scenes were fantastic, super hilarious, and just a great comedic performance. Absolutely loved Jack in that too, and he was just so perfect. So, like I was saying, in Wreck-It Ralph 2, it's not a huge part that he plays Fix-It Felix again. But at the same time, when he was, like I said in the scenes, he was absolutely perfect and awesome. He once again brought to life Felix Fix-It Jr. He was just perfect. He sounded great. His interaction with Jane Lynch's character that he met in the first film, that's like the action heroine and kind of like the boss over in that game. They're just hilarious and funny, super, awesome, and just a really great performance by Jack. He just was really awesome, and I really enjoyed him. Thought he was a really great addition to this film as well. That brings me to the last new character that we're adding to this awesome voiceover work for this film. Now, this character actor, or I should say actress, she has been in a few films over the years. She's, given her talents to some great characters. She's been in a couple franchises. She's just a fun, but mostly she's done modeling. Now, of course, that happens to be the gorgeous and amazing Miss Gal Gadot. Now, Gal Gadot, like I said, if you recognize her, she was in a few of the Fast and Furious movies. She's been in a slew of other films, too, over the years. Now, a couple films I really enjoyed her in and thought she was fantastic in were none other than the awesome and amazing first time on the big screen, presentation of this awesome DC character that, people have loved and cherished and read her comic books over the years. And that, of course, is of Wonder Woman. Now, this movie was really fantastic. It was fun. Gal was really awesome as Wonder Woman. We got to kind of see that in Batman vs. Superman. We got the kind of interesting idea of what she was going to be like, and she was really awesome as the character. I really enjoyed her. I thought she was really great in the action sequences. I thought she worked really well with everyone and was a really great choice at for Wonder Woman, even though I wasn't too sure at first because Linda Carter is such an iconic character, such an iconic actress that played, Wonder Woman back in the TV series in the 70s, and I wasn't too sure if she was going to live up to it, but she did pretty decent and did a really good job. I really enjoyed her in the film, and, looking forward to the sequel that comes out next year. Now, the other film that I really liked Gal Gadot in, and I thought she was fantastic in, is an awesome comedy action film that came out a couple years ago that has Zach Galifianakis in it, John Hamm, Isla Fisher. It's just a really fun, awesome action comedy, I thought. Didn't do well in the theaters. A lot of people didn't care for it, but I thought it was a really fun film. And that, of course, is the film Keeping Up with the Joneses. I really liked her character, and I love how she played kind of like this housewife, kind of elegant, ritzy type of housewife that was kind of sexy, but at the same time could be maternal. But at the same time, it's like she's like this badass, secret agent also as well. She just was really fun, and I thought her interaction with Isla Fisher and Zach Galifianakis in the film, and just how she acted with John Hamm was so fun and hilarious. I thought she had a really great comedy bone in the film, and I really enjoyed seeing her doing a little bit of a comedy type of thing, and that was really fun. I thought she did a good job, and that she has a future in doing some more comedy stuff. And she just, once again was, of course, her elegant, beautiful self in the film, where a lot of people think she's so attractive. I think she's okay. I think she's attractive. But at the same time, I just thought that she's a lot more just as an actress than she is in her appearance, I feel. Very interesting, definitely an interesting, role, and I thought she was really fun in it. Now, when it comes to her new character that's introduced into Wreck-It Ralph 2, I thought she did a pretty decent job. I didn't realize it was her at first until I looked up all the voiceover credits. And it was interesting because, she definitely had an accent. I was kind of thinking it was, a Latin actress, but I didn't realize it was her. And I thought she really brought a great presence to this kind of like macho chick that's in charge, that, her ride is not going to be stolen and taken, and this, awesome, racing car, kind of like Grand Theft Auto type of game. And I thought that it was kind of funny that they picked her to do the voice, because I was like, I wasn't really expecting her to do that voice, and after, watching it, I was like, she actually did a pretty good job. I really enjoyed the character. I thought it was an interesting new addition to the, awesome Wreck-It Ralph universe, and hopefully we get to see her character again. But at the same time, I was like, this is kind of interesting that they're kind of like bringing in this like crazy kind of, Grand Theft Auto type of game into the universe, because, you're talking about a lot of the old classic games, but I forgot, in the first one they had that, kind of Alien Crisis film game that they had in the movie and stuff like that, where people were like shooting with guns and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're just trying to, envelope some more and give, a little bit more of a current edition of a video game. So I thought that was kind of interesting too, how they, and developed that and added that into the film too. And I thought Gal Gadot did a good job of interpreting that and giving us that new character. Now, if you're not familiar with what Wreck-It Ralph 2 is about, basically what happens is Vanellope's characters that we meet in are known for the first film. Basically, her game gets wrecked and the steering wheel gets broken, and they're not sure if they're going to be able to fix it. So all the characters from the game are unfortunately kind of homeless, and so Vanellope doesn't know what she can do. So her and Ralph decide that they're going to go into the internet, since now the arcade has internet, and buy the steering wheel that they need for Vanellope's game so that she can go back to racing. And then as they go on, she starts to figure out that she wants to do something else with her life, and basically where it leads her. And so the rest of the movie is basically about that, them trying to win this wheel, her and, Ralph coming to terms as best friends still, even though she wants to go in another direction, and kind of a life lesson type of thing, learning how to let go and how to, basically how relationships change and how they move on and have to go in different directions. It's a really great film. Really enjoyed it. Thought they did a fantastic job with it. I hope it gets nominated for an Oscar. It definitely deserves it. It was so freaking awesome good. Super hilarious. Loved all the voiceovers in it. I love that everyone pretty much came back to do voiceovers. You also have the addition of, a few other people doing new voices like Gal Gadot and so forth. It just was a really fun film. I really enjoyed it and thought it was fantastic. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. Go see it in theaters now. It's a fantastic film. John C. Reilly rocks. Just an all-around great film. Give it a whirl, people. It's worth the watch. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. If it's your first time here, or if you've been here before, come on, people. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this awesome video or the other awesome videos I put up. And as always, people, keep your eyes out for any older, newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, people, check out the awesome Stardust app, where you can watch 30 to 30-second little mini reviews, TV shows, trailers, movies, anything your heart desires, where this awesome app is always constantly updating, adding cool new polls and contests. So that's something that interests you. Go ahead and download it for free at the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store, depending on what device you have. Look for Cyberneticshark or the Cyberneticshark 13. Follow me, and I'll follow you back. And as always, people, catch you in the next one.